I get this email, in the subject line, guys, critical. I was like, am I dying? Is there something wrong? What is going on? I was really freaking out, guys. Okay, I'm being silly now, it's fine. I'm being silly. Let me actually start now. Hello, babes! Welcome to Babes I've Been There, a space where we live, laugh, learn, and grow through any and every situation that comes our way. So, in today's video, I will be chatting to you guys about adulting, specifically within the health side of things, with regards to doctors, which doctors you should see, which doctors you should have. And I'll basically also just be sharing my experiences and what I've learned as far as that is concerned in my few years as a fully fledged adult. Also, guys, a disclaimer, please do not take everything that I say here and proceed to go with it as fact. Once again, this really is just the experiences that I've had and what I've learned and what I'll be sharing with you guys. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, which is chilled. But either way, please don't run around and say, no, because I heard this girl said in this video that if you go here and you do this, then this is what's going to happen and this is how it should work. I want no parts of it. Please, don't. Don't. So without further ado, let's get into it, right? When we talk about adulting, we're basically just speaking about the ability to basically behave like an adult, right? So now you're in that space where you no longer rely on your parents as much, if at all, and you're basically having to work in such a way where your life, everything about your life, whether it's your finances, whether it's your health care, your rent, electricity, all of these things now fall on your shoulders. It's not your mom anymore, it's not your dad anymore, it's you and you alone, right? So my experiences with that, with regards to healthcare, guys. Okay, let me start by saying that I feel it's really important to have a GP. When I say GP, I mean general practitioner. And this is going to be like your baseline doctor. This doctor, right, is basically kind of a jack of all trades in a way. They're basically the doctor that you're gonna go to, when you need a sick note, or if you need to get some medication, if you're not sure if you're actually okay and you need to go and see a specialist. The specialist would be, for example, someone like a gynecologist, someone who specializes in a particular area. But that GP is going to be the one to help you decide, give you a more informed opinion that, okay, I'm feeling like I'm having some cramps over here. This feels weird. And then your GP is going to be like, I got you. Okay, it's either this or it's either that, or I'm going to give you this and it's going to work out. Great, perfect. Get a great GP, right? Especially with regards to the way in which you're going to be paying. So your payment method, whether it's medical aid or whether you're going to be coughing it out of your own pocket or you have a hospital plan, any of those things, definitely get a GP that is within your bracket as far as finances are concerned, but also within a space that hopefully will be easier for you to get there. Especially whether you're driving, when you take public transport, it's really important to take those things into consideration. I think at the time for me, when I was at varsity, I think they made things a lot easier, or they kind of pushed you in a way where you kind of are transitioning into adulting in a way, because they have this center. I've forgotten the name of the center, guys. I will write it. But basically the center that you go to, which is basically a makeshift hospital for students, right? So you go there, you can see the doctor. You go there, you can see the nurse. You go there, you can see like a psychologist. Everything is there. It's housed in one space. You don't have to venture out there into the world to find one. But you will eventually once you leave varsity. In my situation, I transitioned from that center to now having to just scramble and find a GP or a doctor, which is extremely important, as I said, especially when you start working. Because when you're working, guys, you can't just decide on some, well, today, I'm not feeling so well, so I'm not going to go to work. And then you get there tomorrow and they're like, okay, why were you not here? No, I was sick. Oh, okay. Can I have a doctor's note? And they're for real. If you do not produce that doctor's note, guys, what's going to happen is it's going to get taken out of what? Your leave. And that leave, guys, when I tell you, especially when you start working, you will understand this. Your leave is gold. You don't want to squander that. You don't want to mess with that at all. So you need that GP to be able to say that, look, Jerry was sick from this date to this date. And therefore, look, there's the proof. So that you can still take that out of your sick leave and you still have time to do what you really want to do with that gold that is your leave. Right? Okay. So yes, a GP, super important. Make sure that you lock that down so that you have one, especially if they're a family practitioner. Now, it's not to say that I think that there's a specific difference or a major difference between like a normal GP and one that's a family practitioner. But they usually tend to be able to cover all of the bases, right? The GPs that are family practitioners tend to also be able to do pap smears. Ooh, on the subject of pap smears, guys, please make sure that when you have a pap smear or any kind of test that has to do with STDs, STIs, that whole thing, make sure that you are seeing a doctor, which is why it's important to have a GP, right? To go and do those kind of tests, especially if it's your first time. Let me tell you. I made the mistake, right? It was my first time going for a pap smear, the first time that I went for a pap smear. I made the mistake of going with this campaign. Now, it's an amazing campaign. They made it significantly cheaper than what it is, to go for a pap smear. But the problem with that campaign, as much as it was great and the intention was amazing, is that you didn't have a doctor that was doing it. And that's not the problem per se. It's not to say that no, nurses can't do it. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that a doctor will give you certain kind of information and explanations that a nurse might not necessarily give you. And in my experience, what had happened was I had gone and I went and the nurse was amazing. She was super lovely. She gave me a general overview. So that was the idea that I had. She's like, yes, we're going to do it. Quick thing. We'll send it to the lab. We'll email you your results. It's cool. If anything is suspicious or anything needs to be investigated further, then we will tell you to go and see a specialist or go see a doctor. So you see, why must you now go and see the nurse and then if something happens, then you must go and see a doctor again twice when you can actually just see the doctor once off?
Why?
No. But you see, I did not know this. I figured, it's like an HIV test. It's so simple. You're either this or you're that, and it's fine, right? Wrong. What happened was, I get this email, in the subject line, guys, critical. I was like, am I dying? Is there something wrong? What is going on? I was really freaking out, guys. I opened the email and basically it was saying that you need to refer to a specialist. Now I'm freaking out. It's the kind of thing where, especially if you don't really know all of the details, you don't know what it is that they're looking for, all you're seeing is this email that's telling you that it's critical and you need to go and see a specialist. I thought something was genuinely wrong with me. Like I thought that maybe this is cancer. And I eventually went to go and see a gynecologist. Excuse me, guys. I went to go and see a gynecologist. And this gynecologist is basically saying, girl, you are fine. You are fine. There's nothing wrong here. They just wanted to see this cell from that cell, differentiate this from that, but otherwise you are good. Mind you, a gynecologist is a specialist. But this is something that a GP could have told me. A doctor could have told me this. A family practitioner could have told me this. But now I went and I spent double. For what? You see, it doesn't make sense. Don't do it to yourself. Now I had unnecessary anxiety, thinking that I was dying, Meanwhile, there was nothing. There was no problem, So genuinely, guys, I say this with my whole chest. Get a GP, everything, baseline, you know, go there. They'll be the ones to tell you if in fact you do need to go and see a specialist. And then you can go and fork out those coins, because there will be coins to fork out. Let's not kid ourselves. There will be coins to fork out for a specialist. There's a reason why they get paid the coins that they... The amount of studying that they did, guys, it can equate to a decade plus. Please, we must give them their respect, you know. And even GPs, they also did a whole chunk, right? So they need their respect. Long story short, get a GP, family practitioner. That way you can get your pap smear, you can get your STI, you can get all of those things done once off. And if in fact you do need to see someone who's a bit more specialized, they can point you in that direction, without you having to fork out your coins unnecessarily. That's one, right? Two, if you are going to do some sort of test and you have not spoken to a doctor about it, do not go to a campaign as your first time. I'm not saying do not use the campaign at all. I'm saying that if it is your first time, rather see a doctor so that they can explain it to you thoroughly, the way that a doctor can, so that they can answer the kind of questions that will be able to help you feel better and ease anxiety. Because guys, already in this world, a lot of things can make us anxious. We don't need more on our plate, right? Yes. Mental health is obviously something that we have to take very seriously. Make it a point to find a psychologist or someone along those lines who will be able to help you, as well as understand, you know, the cultural aspects, so that when they, you know, give you exercises or things that are able to help in certain situations, that they really can be applied and they are understanding of what it means to live in your world, you know, cultural or otherwise. There's so many different ways to go about the medical world, guys. It's really not as simple as we'd like to think. We just know the ones that we need. But when you really get into it, you start to realize that it is a spider web. There are so many different avenues, facets to go into. So yes, guys, that's it for me. Those are the things that I have learned or that I have experienced as far as adulting and healthcare is concerned. And those are the aspects that I wanted to pass on to you guys. So if you know anything as well, you have some information as well that you're able to just plug people with, or even like correct certain aspects, please do go ahead. Like, this is what we are here for. Your family, you know, a family. So yes, if you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe as well. We'd love to have you join our little family over here. And yeah, that's it for me. Have a great one. And until the next time, bye for now.